The last time you were on this programme was during the election campaign towards the end. You were responding to the leak of a phone call between you and a Tory activist friend.
Not a friend anymore.
Surprise, surprise. In the phone call, you had said that it was dire on the doorstep for Labour and they were struggling. Here's how you explained yourself.
I was talking to him. He was saying, his sources at the CCHQ say, Labour's doing well. And I'm doing the old sort of, what Alex Ferguson would do, football managers trying to psych him out, saying, no, you're going to win, don't worry about it. Because I know he's an activist in Canterbury. I'm trying to make him complacent. Obviously, I look a plonker now. I was a smart aleck, too clever by half.
You say it's banter, but if you're saying you don't believe any of the stuff that you said, in response, you say, I've been going round these national places. It's dire for Labour, it's dire. I'm helping colleagues, banging on about the NHS for them, but it's awful for them. And it's the combination of Corbyn and Brexit outside of the city seats. It's abysmal out there. Do you believe that?
No, I don't. And again...
It's just banter.
Well, yes.
I mean, in that interview, John, you said you were being a plonker for the banter. Were you not instead a plonker for pretending you didn't really mean what you said?
No, because by that point of the campaign, I thought we had turned a corner and I thought we were probably heading for a sort of similar hung parliament, probably not a Labour victory, but probably a hung parliament. Remember that phone call was from a few weeks out, earlier in the campaign, when the first YouGov poll had come out, the one where they do the analysis of all the individual seats. And that YouGov poll, I think, was suggesting a 60-seat majority. So, no, I'm obviously, though, still very disappointed that... Are you
honestly saying that every word of that phone call that you said was joshing and banter, but actually happened and came true?
Well, every seat
when you
I
said it's the
combination...
Absolutely correct. So why don't you just fess up now?
Because
that is what you meant. Be truthful with the voters, with viewers. What you said then, you couldn't admit it then because you were in an election campaign, but you can now.
No, because I honestly thought I was exaggerating what was happening to a former friend who is not a friend, he's a duplicitous snake, quite obviously, Mr. Greg Baker. But I thought I was exaggerating things in order to sort of send him off to make him feel like, he didn't need to worry about stuff, right? It turns out that the election result in the end was worse than my exaggeration. It was actually worse. I mean, we took such a hammering, we lost seats, which I didn't even mention.
But let me remind you of the language you used in your banter. It's the combination of Corbyn and Brexit. Outside of the city seats, it's abysmal out there. They can't stand Corbyn and they think Labour's blocked Brexit. Your analysis was spot on. It was as bad as it turned out to... You were.
I was right.
Because it's what you truly thought and it's what you truly knew.
Because yes, but I was exaggerating because I thought...
But you knew that that was the truth.
No, I was exaggerating, and I thought by the end of the campaign, when we'd managed to highlight the state of the National Health Service, with the waiting list escalating, that we had turned a corner and we were heading for some form of probably a similar hung parliament territory. Sadly, and heartbreakingly for me, who desperately wanted to be the Health Secretary to turn our NHS round, the result was much worse than many of us were anticipating, much worse than the YouGov poll of individual seats was predicting. But the thing is this, when you look at what happened, these have been trends in a lot of these seats for years. Some of these seats, like Sherwood in 2010, I know Sherwood well. I worked on the campaign in 2010. On election night in 2010, I was in a leisure centre and saw the Sherwood seat, which should have been a Labour seat, go to the Tories by 200 votes. It wasn't on Labour's radar for losing. It wasn't on the Tories' list for one they would win. Let me just finish this point. That seat, a former coal mining seat, where the former pit closed about 4 or 5 years ago, now has a Tory majority of 16,000, and the Tory MP sits in Boris Johnson's cabinet as the chief whip. These trends have been in our seats for some time.
But I'm talking about honesty here and being truthful. And is it time now for you, and I mean, lots of politicians do it, but is it now the time to say that what I was saying, my analysis was right then, I wasn't joshing, it wasn't banter.
I was exaggerating what I thought was going on in order to send off at this guy with a sort of sense that, he didn't need to worry. By the way, I've had lots of Tories, I shouldn't speak to Tories anymore, lots of Tory MPs come up to me, tell me how absolutely appalled they were by this guy's behaviour. And I've even had one Tory MP tell me what they think Labour held Canterbury as a result of his behaviour.